Once upon a time, in a quaint village nestled between rolling hills and lush forests, there lived a young girl named Lila. Unlike the other children in the village who were active and eager to help their families, Lila was known as the laziest girl around. She spent her days lounging by the river, watching the clouds drift by, and dreaming of a life where she didn't have to lift a finger. Her mother, a hardworking woman named Greta, often tried to encourage Lila to help with chores around the house. "Lila, dear, we need firewood for the winter. Would you please gather some from the forest?" she would ask. But Lila would yawn and reply, "Oh, mother, I'll do it later. Right now, I need to rest." Days turned into weeks, and the villagers began to grow concerned about Lila's lack of motivation. They worried that she would never learn the value of hard work. One day, a wise old woman named Mora visited the village. She had heard about Lila's laziness and decided to pay her a visit. Mora found Lila lying under a tree, staring up at the sky. "Good day, Lila," she greeted warmly. "I have heard tales of your reluctance to work. May I tell you a story?" Lila, curious and having nothing better to do, nodded. "Of course, Mora. I love stories." Mora smiled and began her tale. "Once, there was a girl very much like you, named Lina. She too was lazy and spent her days doing nothing. One day, a fairy appeared and granted her wish to live in a world where she never had to work. Lina was overjoyed. She found herself in a beautiful palace where everything was done for her. She never had to lift a finger. At first, Lina loved her new life. But as time passed, she grew bored and restless. Without anything to challenge her or occupy her mind, she felt empty and unfulfilled. She missed the sense of accomplishment that came from completing a task. She missed the joy of helping others. One day, she begged the fairy to take her back to her old life. The fairy agreed, and Lina returned home, vowing to never be lazy again. She found happiness in hard work and became one of the most beloved and respected members of her village. Lila listened intently, pondering the story's message. "Do you think that could happen to me, Mora?" she asked softly. Mora placed a gentle hand on Lila's shoulder. "Only you can decide your path, Lila. Remember, true happiness often comes from the effort we put into our lives and the contributions we make to those around us." The next morning, Lila awoke with a newfound sense of purpose. She decided to help her mother gather firewood. As she worked, she felt a strange but satisfying sense of accomplishment. The villagers noticed the change in Lila and began to support her in her efforts. She learned to bake bread, tend to the garden, and even care for the village's animals. Lila's transformation was remarkable. She discovered the joy of a job well done and the warmth of community appreciation. Her days were filled with laughter, learning, and a sense of belonging she had never known before. As the years passed, Lila grew into a strong and capable young woman. The villagers no longer spoke of her as the lazy girl, but as the girl who found her purpose. She often visited Mora, now a dear friend, and thanked her for the story that changed her life. And so, Lila lived happily ever after, surrounded by the love and respect of her village. She had learned that true fulfillment came not from idleness, but from the work of her hands and the kindness of her heart. The end.